Today I'll show you how to make a blueberry lemon sourdough bread. It's easy to make, easy to bake, and it tastes absolutely delicious. Here's how to make it. Start by taking 25 grams of sourdough starter out of the fridge, feeding it 50 grams of water and 50 grams of bread flour. Then let it rise overnight for about 6 to 8 hours until it doubles in size like this. At this point you can mix your dough. But right before mixing your dough, it's time to prepare the lemon part of the blueberry lemon sourdough bread. So get 2 medium or average size lemons and 2 tablespoons of white sugar, or about 25 grams of sugar. Then zest both of the lemons using a microplane or any kind of zesting instrument. And once you've got all of the zest off of those 2 lemons, it's time to mix the zest into the sugar. Yes, the sugar will be going into the sourdough bread, which will end up making the bread a little bit softer, and the bread will actually keep for a little bit longer because it won't dry out as quickly. But the sugar in this case is intended to bring the lemon oils out of the lemon zest. So when you mix together the sugar and lemon zest like this, it's actually going to be pulling out those essential oils that have a lot of lemon flavor. So mix the 2 lemons worth of zest in with the 2 tablespoons of sugar, and then set that aside and allow it to do its magic for a little while. Then with a mixing bowl on a digital scale, add 325 grams of water. This is going to end up being a medium hydration sourdough bread, about 75% hydration, which will be perfect. Next, get out that risen and active sourdough starter and add 100 grams of active sourdough starter right into the water. After adding the starter, you can take the starter that's left over in the jar and place it back into the fridge for the next time you want to bake. Then mix the starter into the water to dissolve it. Next, add 450 grams of bread flour. I'm just using the plain blue bag of King Arthur brand bread flour for this recipe. Then for the last ingredient in the dough, 10 grams of salt. I'm using kosher salt, but you can use any plain table salt or sea salt as well. Stir the salt into the flour to combine it, and then mix the dough completely together, liquid ingredients mixing with the dry ingredients, and keep mixing for about 1 to 2 minutes until there aren't any dry clumps of flour left. Then after about a minute or 2 of mixing, your dough should look something like this. It holds together, but it still feels really loose. It'll need some resting time to really firm up and stretch and fold to develop that gluten. So cover your dough up with a kitchen towel and let it rest for 30 minutes. Then 30 minutes later, just from that short rest period, your dough should be holding together a little bit better than it was before. The gluten has already started to develop. Now it's time to start the process of stretch and folds. During the first set of stretch and folds, you're going to be incorporating the sugar and lemon zest mixture. So go ahead and pour the sugar and lemon zest directly on top of the dough in the bowl, and then with slightly wet fingertips, press down into the dough, dimpling the lemon zest and sugar into the dough itself. The idea here is to sort of massage the lemon zest and sugar into the dough until it starts to be absorbed. It should just take about 1 minute or so, and then your dough should look something like this. Now you can perform the first set of stretch and folds. Stretch and folds are an alternative to kneading, and it's a way to develop strength and structure in the dough. Start by grabbing an edge of the dough, the one that's farthest away from you, and stretch the dough up into the air, and then fold it over the top of the dough. This is why it's called stretching and folding. Stretch it up, and then fold it over the top, and press it down. Now you're going to be stretching 4 corners of the dough, so give the dough a quarter turn, and then grab the west end of the dough. If the first end was the north end, this should be the west end. Stretch it up into the air, and then fold that corner of the dough over the top and press it down. Give the dough another quarter turn, and then stretch the south end of the dough up into the air, and fold it over the top. Then give the dough another quarter turn, stretch the last end of the dough, the east end, up into the air, and fold it over the top and press down. Now there's a few corners of dough left that I'm just going to give extra folds just so the dough looks a little bit better and a little bit cleaner. You don't have to do that part, 4 folds is fine. But once your dough is stretched and folded, cover it up again and let it rest at room temperature for another 30 minutes. Alright, 30 minutes later, the dough has been stretched and folded once and it's nice and lemony. It's got the lemon sugar mixture in there already. Now it's time to add the blueberries. We're going to be doing that during the second and third set of stretch and folds. So grab 150 grams of fresh blueberries, which is essentially a half pint. Then you're going to be incorporating half of these blueberries in during the second set of stretch and folds. So add half of the blueberries right on top of the dough, then get your fingers a little bit damp again, and press them down into the dough. You want to press the blueberries down so they stick to the dough. Then when you're stretching and folding, ideally the blueberries won't be rolling all over the place, and they'll actually get incorporated into the dough. This will basically be exactly the same as the first set of stretch and folds, only now the dough feels a little bit stronger and it's full of blueberries. So it's important to be a little bit more gentle during this step so you don't squish the blueberries. Stretch and fold the north end of the dough up into the air, fold it over the top, then give the dough a quarter turn and stretch the west end of the dough up into the air and fold it over the top and press it down. You're slowly incorporating the blueberries layer by layer into the dough. Give the dough another quarter turn, stretch the south end of the dough into the air and fold it over the top. Then one last turn, stretch the last end of the dough up into the air and fold it over. There you go, 4 more stretches and folds. That was round 2. Cover the dough up again with a kitchen towel and let the dough rest for 30 minutes. You've got 1 set of stretch and folds left. 30 minutes later, uncover your dough and then get the remaining blueberries and pour them directly on top of the dough. Press the blueberries down into the dough so that they stick, and then it's time for the third and final set of stretch and folds. Just like the first 2, but this time your dough has even more blueberries in it. Stretch the north end of dough up into the air and fold it over the top. Quarter turn and stretch the west end of the dough up into the air and fold it over the top. Then the same thing with the south end and the east end of the dough until you've given your dough 4 total folds and the dough is just loaded with blueberries. At this point, the dough is ready for the first rise, also called the bulk fermentation. I like to do this part in a separate glass bowl, so I get out this 7-cup glass bowl with a lid, and I add a little bit of olive oil. That was a little bit too much, just to make sure the dough doesn't stick to the sides of the bowl. It makes it easier to release at the end. Then I flip the dough out so it's seam side down, and the smoother side is facing up inside of that glass bowl. Now for the first rise, cover your dough up with an airtight lid or a sheet of plastic wrap if you don't have a lid, and let your dough rise at room temperature on your kitchen counter for about 3 to 5 hours or until doubled in size. At the 3-hour mark, my dough was looking like this. It was doubled in size, puffy, and ready to shape. To shape this bread as an oval, we're going to be shaping it in 2 different stages, the pre-shape and the final shape. So gently remove the dough from the sides of the bowl, and then transfer it onto your kitchen counter with no flour on the counter necessary. Just put it seam side down on the counter. Then using your hands, cup and pull the dough in a circular motion to create a tight ball of dough. You don't need to use any specialty tools for this, but if your dough feels especially sticky, you can get a bench scraper and just use the circular motion that you would normally do with your hands, but with a bench scraper. After building some tension across the top of the dough, making that circular motion, your dough is officially pre-shaped into a ball. At this point, let your dough bench rest on the counter, uncovered, unfloured, for 30 minutes. 30 minutes later, it's time for the final shape. So prepare a 10-inch oval Banneton basket by dusting it with bread flour on both the bottom and the sides of the Banneton basket. Then put that off to the side, and it's time to shape this dough into an oval. Dust the top with a little bit of flour so there's a non-stick surface, and then flip the dough over so that the sticky side is facing up and the floured side is facing down against the kitchen counter. Now to shape this into an oval, gently pull on the 4 corners of the dough with your fingertips until the dough forms somewhat of a square shape. Now imagine this square divided into thirds, fold the left third of dough over the middle third and press it down so that it sticks. Then fold the right third of dough over the middle third as well, so those meet in the middle, and press down on the seam so that everything sticks together. Now taking the end of the dough that's farthest away from you, pull it up and roll the dough into itself until you've got a tight cylinder of dough that looks something like this. The seam is on the bottom of the dough and the top is smooth. Smooth out the ends of the dough by tucking the dough under with your hands, and that's the final shape for your basic oval-shaped dough. Grab your Banneton basket and pick the dough up, flip it over so that the seam side is facing up and the smooth side is facing down, then drop it into the Banneton basket upside down, and then pinch any seams that need to be closed with your fingertips. And now your dough is shaped and ready for the second rise or the final proof. I'll let you know in the written recipe how to let this proof overnight using the fridge, but to bake this on the same day, cover your dough up and let it rise at room temperature on the counter for about 2 hours. Then a half hour before your bread is ready to bake, preheat your oven to 450 degrees Fahrenheit with a Dutch oven or baking vessel inside of the oven preheating along with it. After 2 hours of final proofing, my dough was looking puffy, risen, and it had significantly increased in volume. It was ready to bake. Before baking, you're going to score the dough, so gently release it from the sides of the Banneton basket, and then flip the dough out onto a piece of parchment paper that's a little bit bigger than the Banneton basket. Just flip the basket over, and then as long as your dough had released from the sides of the basket should come off pretty easily. Now it's time to score the dough. So get your favorite razor blade or bread lom. This is a UFO lom that I'm very fond of using. Then holding your blade at about a 45-degree angle, slash it from one end to the other end in one long slash. You might have to go over those edges a few more times. I usually go over each end one more time just to make sure I've scored all the way through. Now when you bake your dough, the bread should burst open along this score mark during the first half of the baking time. You can also see that the dough is loaded with blueberries, and I can even see some lemon zest. Now that your oven has already been preheating for 30 minutes, grab your dough, parchment paper and all, and transfer the dough directly onto the bottom of your hot Dutch oven. Pop the lid on to trap the steam, and then bake this in the oven for 20 minutes at 450 degrees Fahrenheit. Then 20 minutes later, it's time to remove the Dutch oven lid and check for the beautiful oven spring. If everything has gone correctly, your dough should have burst open along that score mark, leaving a beautiful ear, as well as exposing a lot of blueberries. Those look like blueberry pie filling. This is so cool. Now with the Dutch oven lid off, continue baking for another 15 minutes at 450 degrees Fahrenheit. At the end of 15 minutes, your bread should be golden brown, beautiful, and ready to remove from the oven. Transfer your bread onto a cooling rack and let it cool for at least an hour at room temperature before you slice in. Now that the bread is cool, it's time for the taste test. You'll notice at first that as far as texture goes, this bread feels a lot softer than my other sourdough bread recipes if you've made those before. That's thanks to the 25 grams of sugar in this dough. It makes the interior of the bread a lot softer, while still maintaining a nice crust on the outside, which is typical for homemade sourdough breads. I love the interior of this bread. It's bursting with blueberries with that deep purple color. And even though the lemon zest has all but disappeared into the dough, the lemon zest and sugar mixture work together to enhance the flavor and aroma of the blueberries, and there's an almost blueberry pie-like aroma filling the air. The crust is crisp on this bread, the interior is soft and fluffy, and I really just couldn't wait to take a bite. The best way to describe the flavor of this bread is that the blueberries are tangy and a little bit tart without being too tart, and the bread is sweet without being too sweet. It's reminiscent of blueberry pie in a really good way. A great way to enjoy this bread, something a little unique, is to get a thin slice of bread that you can fit in your toaster, toast it up, and then add to that a thin layer of whole milk ricotta cheese. Then on top of that, put a drizzle of honey, and this is absolutely amazing. Just give this exact thing a try and tell me it's not the best piece of blueberry lemon sourdough honey ricotta toast you've ever had, if you've ever had it before. Go to my website to check out all of the recipes that I'm going through in this 52 Weeks of Sourdough series, and I'll see you in the next video.